right. We're going to want to welcome everybody. We're going to get started here. And once again, I'm on a little bit of a delay. I'm going to turn that light off behind me here, so hold on really quick. I have to unhook my mic. All right. Oh, how's everyone doing tonight? I hope you all are well and had a good day. So let's go ahead and get started. Tonight, I'm going to try and start doing some of these live streams on, well, of course, on Tuesday we will talk about portrait drawing and hit up all of the major parts of that. And that's fun. Of course, I enjoy that. And then I thought on Thursdays, I would try and do another, live stream. And on Thursday, we will answer questions or kind of do potpourri. So I kind of called it Thursday's Tricks and Tips. So I'll just be sharing with you any ideas or thoughts that I have on different subjects, but over time you're going to see a lot of the same things repeat over and over. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started here. All right. So you might want to get to, I wrote down some notes here, put some thoughts together this afternoon that you might want to take a minute, and hopefully you have a piece of paper. You are sketching, I assume, so you could add these to your shape, to some of your notes. But what I want to do tonight is just kind of talk about some of the processes that I go through when I'm drawing any type of flowers or trees. So, like anything else, and let's bring up this picture first here. This is a good example. So, when I am drawing, there are a couple things you want to keep in mind when you're going to draw anything per se. And we always start with gesture, and that moves into construction, and then we go into detail from there. So in this case, let's just take this for example, and I'll kind of show you what I mean. So first thing I'm going to do is think of gesture. And gesture, I'm going to want to go very lightly, and I'm just trying to get the feel of things, because if I don't have any lines on the page, then I won't know where to go from. So so that would be considered a gesture, where I've just quickly, hopefully you could see that, I've just kind of gone over the area here, and I'm just trying to quickly put some things down to get a feel where things are going. And this could be for trees, it could be for bushes, it could be for people, anything. So after I get through there, next thing I want to think about is construction. So under construction, what I might do is I might look at this, looking over here at these trees. What I'm looking for is this idea. So I'm going to change this to be red so you can actually see it. So when I'm drawing trees, I'm not looking for individual leaves, I'm looking for big pieces. So I see this hunk right here. I see this piece behind that. I see this piece back here. I see this piece right here. And there's another one right there. All right, so let's go ahead and give that a shot and kind of put that in as our construction idea. And for this part, you could just kind of watch and take notes. If you want to try and draw along, you're more than welcome to, but I'm just kind of going over the basic process. All right, so there is my overall construction of those big pieces that I see. Now let's look at these guys here. All right, so down here of course we have this bush that's center, and again I'm seeing it as a mass. We've got this guy that's almost like a cube. Someone's been trimming that one. And feel free to ask a question, and I will be looking over there as well. So all I'm doing right here is just trying to get the general shape and construction of these pieces. And then of course okay. Next thing I want to do here then is let's look at some of these branches here that we have going. So I'm looking at this one first. So I'm just going to come down, put him in. Then we got this guy turning around there. I'm just looking for the major ones. He kind of comes out. Look at these guys back here. I've got this going here. Okay, so this generally is my construction. Okay, then from this point forward, I'm going to fall into more detail. So let's just take this. Let's just take this right in here. So I can start seeing some leaf shapes. All right, and then I'm going to move over to this guy over here, and more leaf shapes up here. So generally you could see how I would continue getting this idea. I would start to continue to develop this and keep adding detail, adding more construction where it's necessary, and this would bring me to the final phrases of my drawing. So that's the basic overview. So let's get rid of that. And now let's talk about a couple important concepts. All right, so we talked about the idea of going from big shape. Then we're going to go into, we talked about construction. So we have a sense that this is like, has mass. And then the third phase, of course, is adding the detail. All right, let's talk about this. This is an important idea. It's called overlapping. And this is where we might overlap forms. Okay, this, especially when we're drawing trees and we start seeing things in groups. We have a section of the tree that's going to be up front. Part of the leaves are going to be behind that, and then we have another section behind that. That would be called overlap. Next thing we want to take a look at, this would be called grouping. Grouping is when you have multiple objects. For instance, let's just say we're going to deal with rocks, okay? So how do we get a nice variety of rocks on our page? So we might start off with this idea. We've got one big rock, okay? We would call this the father rock, all right? And then just say we're going to have another rock, and this one we're going to call the mother, father, mother. Then we're going to get into brother, sister, and then baby. So when we are drawing a variety of objects, if we start to, like, a lot of times what I will do is I will run that through my head so I can get a variety of shapes on my page. All right, so this is grouping. Right. Over here is overlap. Okay. All right, next let's talk about this. And I've demonstrated this before a couple times. This would be surface lines. So let's just pretend like these were the trunks of a tree. And if I run along the surface, I can really give the impression that this branch is coming toward us, this branch is going away, this is falling away, that one's coming toward us, that one's coming toward us, and this is falling away. So you can get a really good idea of adding texture and direction to the surface of an object by using surface lines. Okay. Okay, so let's start off with this example here. All right, so this is a great example for overlap that we would end up using to try and develop this. All right, so overlap. So we might start off with small here. I'm going to take down this. Okay, so here is our basic overlap, and I'm going to come in here now and start adding some detail. So much of this is just adding texture, slowing down. The key in this, of course, is getting the overall shape. Okay, so this would be a good example of overlap, and you could see that I could come back in here with some surface lines. And you know, one of the best ways to continue to improve is to practice. I mean, there's no secret at all. It's just a matter of trying something, and then you discover, oh, that didn't work very good, so you try it again, and then you keep going forward until you get to a point there you're like, oh, that works. Okay, so that's a good example of overlap. Let's take a look at our flowers here. Okay, in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off actually by drawing myself a border to work within, which is an excellent idea. And instead of drawing a gesture, what I'm going to do is paint in, let's see, let's get a nice, we'll go with green here, of course. No, I'm going to go with brown to keep it consistent. All right, what I'm going to do in here actually is kind of paint in the negative space. So in a way, this negative space, and the negative space, what I mean is all the green area. This will actually become almost my gesture, and all I'm looking for here is the shape. So you can see that I've just kind of come in here, this is coming down there. Now, how could you do this if you just had a pencil? You could use a different tone. If you had a little bit of watercolor or something, you could actually do a quick little wash. Now I'm blurring my eyes so I can get an idea of how dark to go in some of these areas here. All right. All right, so let's go ahead now and get some of these daisies. So in this case with the daisies, we would be heading into our construction phase now. So what I want to do is start thinking of these things, as a round object, discs, like this, and like this, and like this. All right, so when I come over here to my page, I'm going to start thinking of those same ideas. And you can see what I'm doing here is I'm just starting to draw. This is my construction phase. Over all these ideas of where these daisies would fall. Big picture, again, big to small. So let's get this guy in here. And this one's going to be off to the center there just a little bit. Here's this guy. Okay. Now let's go ahead in here and start practicing some of these petals. Again, I'm kind of going in the half construction phase, soon to head into the detail stage. Let's get this one in here too. All right. So then from here, now I'm going to start heading into, starting to develop my flowers, and depending on what level of detail I want will determine if I want to make it a quick sketch or a long painting of some sort, or a much more detailed drawing. You know, and then you have down here, look, I'm looking at this. All right. Now, some of us have discussed doing these quick little 5-minute sketches. And those are excellent to loosen you up and to get you feeling what you need to do. But, you know, I'm just throwing out ideas. So you are more than welcome to, if you get something that you really like, yeah, slow down. Slow down and get the detail down. All right, we're going to move on to our next picture here. You get the idea. Okay? All right, let's move on to our next picture. Look at that. Okay, this is another good one. All right, again, I'm going to draw some type of border here. I would do the same in my sketchbook if I was doing it. I like to draw borders. I have noticed that a lot of people like to draw to the edge of their page, but yeah, I like to draw borders so that if you did this here, then you're like, oh, look, I could draw a little detail over here. You know, if you wanted to, I'm looking at this over here. Oh, I want to draw that daisy over here, right? This can end up being a nice composition on the page here. All right. All right, so let's look at this here. Let's look at the bigger one here. So once again, I'm going to start looking at this example as, with shape. Okay, so I'm seeing this kind of area come in here. So let's just quickly put that in there. Here comes my grass on the inside there. I've got some stone work coming in here. So then down here, then I have this section right in here of these flowers. And then in the back, I've got this darker area here. And then I have these long grasses in the back here. Now, if I squint my eyes, I could see that there is this black back area. There's some tone back here. Squint my eyes, there's going to be a little tone right in here. There's some tone underneath here. Okay, so let's see what we got here. And I'm going to give myself I'll give myself 4 minutes, and we'll see if I did this as a quick sketch, what it would look like, all right? Me? No, I'm doing my thing right now. It's live. They can hear everything. That was my wife. It was too quiet down here. She came down here to see what was going on. So in this area, I'm just adding, you can see very quickly, I'm adding quick squiggles. This will give me my sketch idea. Now I'm going to head into some of my rocks here, and I'm again just thinking about these things as stones coming in here. Jumping around here. Sweetheart, I think everyone can hear all that noise in the background. What? So in the background now, I'm just trying to get some tone and adding some larger objects. This is nice when you're starting to add some darker tones for silhouette. So you can see that even back here, as I'm adding in the silhouette, it's causing this little area to pop out through the negative shape. And let's get that down here too, around some of these purple flowers. And so I'm thinking of, like, I'm dropping in these darker areas here. And there's another little darker area in here as well. So as I'm doing this, now I'm starting to look a little bit more closely at my picture here. Adding some surface lines. More surface lines. So all this is just a constant adding of more detail. It's a sketch. I want to bring up this, as we're on this here, I want to bring up an illustration that I found. Let's see if that's it there. Yeah, that's it. So this is a great example of a sketch of a marketplace. So you could see that when you're out, when you're out sketching, you don't have to get all the detail. This is, I don't know who the artist is who did that. I found it online, and I thought it was great in just describing what was going on. Of course, they went in, I don't know if they went in first and hit watercolor first and then came back with marker, but it's no difference than what I've done over here in that I've added some tone, and now I'm going back in and adding more and more detail. All right? All right, let's go to our next one here. Okay. So let's take a look at this. All right, so first thing I see, all right, let's get in some quick shapes here, quick gesture. All right, did you see all those shapes where I got them? We've got some nice layering here. All right, so let's start off with this big guy here. So I'm just trying to think of the tree and thinking of volumes. Even here, look, you can even see like this has there's a piece in here. So let's see if we can capture that idea. Okay, another piece over here. All right, let's take a look at this guy here. All right, this is an interesting one. This is really groomed. Okay, so it has an interesting curly Q. So let's not get overwhelmed with it. Let's just kind of look at it in shapes and see how we do here. So This is the bottom shape. I see them going like that. It's going to be hitting the same angle here. I'm just looking at the shape. I'm not looking at form quite yet. Purely shape. Okay, now let's go in here and start messing with some of the form or construction, all right? Because that's really going to sell it for us. So we come around here like this. Okay. Now I'm just going to add some tone where I see the shadow. All right, let's move on to our next. What do we have here? This old big old bush here, huh? So if I knew that I was going to start sketching, I started realizing like, oh, I'm going to start doing a lot of trees, either for just landscapes or what. Best thing I could do is just start to practice them. Try different techniques. Try different things. Oh my, that doesn't work. And if my abilities are just not up to par, then just simplify it. All right, look at this guy here now. This is this tree here. It's like a let's go in here now, and now I'm looking closely to see where I have my darker values. All right, we've got a log here. Put it in a shape and just kind of going around to surface lines. And I've got this this piece, this thing right here. So I'm looking at this as a shape. That is a volume. Okay, I've got this. This is a volume over here. What else? All right, so there's this little quick arrangement for you. And you can see how I went through that process. Now I can keep working on this and bringing out more detail and ideas on it, but I think you get the idea. All right, so I have a couple, I brought in a couple other pictures. So you could see that you can really use these same ideas in all different scenarios. So for example, so in this desert landscape, again, same idea. And for this, again, I'm going to work with some type of border treatment, you know, and I'm going to quick in and gesture. What's going on here? Okay, so I've got these big logs up there. I've got this bushy thing, logs, cactus up there. I got this other cactus down here. These things I think are called ice plant, believe it or not. Okay, we got some little cacti over here, more cacti over here. We got this tree. Now, in this big old tree, I'm seeing this tree is just a mass, the whole thing. And I'll come back in and do some detail later on. All right? So the idea is to go big shape and get smaller shape. All right? Let's bring in another picture here. All right, so there's a forest scene I brought in, and you can see once again, all right, I'm going to look for the shapes. I'm going to establish this, extremely loose. There it looks like a broken log over there, tree coming in there. Rocks coming in here. All right, just rough, really quick, big areas, and then once again, now I can go back in to get these things with smaller areas. All right, let's bring up a couple more things here. One thing that you might find helpful is I downloaded a couple, I'm going to bring them over here. These are architectural drawings. And you can find these online. They're quite regular, and it just demonstrates this idea of the larger shape getting small. And you can see how they're just thinking of big volume areas. Now I would take these trees, and you might want to practice drawing them. Same thing over here. If you just squint your eyes and kind of take a look at this. They may have, I'm sure they've drawn these trees a million times, so they get very accustomed to it. Well, that's why they've drawn them a million times. They've gotten really good at it. So you could pretty much draw these in your sleep. but it's a matter of regular practice, okay? And last thing I want to show you, I want to show you a couple other illustrations here of how trees in forest and grass are used. Where was that other one there? Boom. Okay, well that's not really trees, but that gives you a sketch there. So another way you can practice is find some illustrators or other artists that you like and try and emulate their style. This will help as well for you to kind of find your own way and determine what you're going to do. So look at this. As I'm talking, I just looked up here and I saw this. This is interesting. So look what he does here. And let's draw this real fast because it is interesting. So I'm looking at this. So he will draw a shape, okay? And then within that shape, then he will draw these sticks, draw the branches. That is a great technique. All right. And then it looks like he will come back in with even a darker value. Let's try that here. For one of these pine trees. Oops. I don't like this. Let's see if this brush works better. I'm looking for something a little more opaque. So let's just say we do this. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Anyways, okay, so you get the idea of how you would just keep looking at other people's drawings, other people's styles, practice them, get an idea, and then make it your own or find your own way of doing it. It's a wonderful process of growth, but I hope you enjoy this, hope you found some help in it, and we will see you next time. We have I have a new video coming out tomorrow. It should be quite nice. Make sure you please subscribe to the channel, like, give me a comment, and that's it. Well, thanks for tonight, and we will see you next week. Okay, bye-bye.